So I'm on the BJJ Fanatics website, and I see 3 new videos by some guy named Thomas Radzinski. You familiar with that guy at all?
Nope, absolutely not.
No? Well, he's got some good stuff. Three brand new videos. They're getting amazing reviews, which is good to see as well. But you got to tell us about them real quick?
Yeah, I had, you guys already know, but I had opportunity to go to Boston, shoot 3 more instructionals, 1 on butterfly hook, complete guide for butterfly hook, 2 wrap, lapel, and submit them, and 3 we have taking the back. It's particularly designed for guys for over 40 because there's no climbing involved. All the back takes are on the ground. Very, very full and effective system. So dip into it. I'm really hoping that this is going to help your jiu-jitsu and really take it to the next level.
BJJfanatics.com. Just search ROZDZ. We have all had that situation where after class is when we want to ask a question. And Thomas, a lot of those questions you've already answered, right, at Ask a Black Belt.
Yeah, it's another podcast that I'm running. It's on podcast, all podcast platforms, plus on YouTube. You can find it anywhere. Just search for my name. Search for Ask a Black Belt. At this point, over 100 episodes, different questions, jiu-jitsu, life-related, but something that everybody comes across, and often these questions sink in our mind, but we don't ask for whatever reason. So if that benefits you, go there, listen. It actually might help your jiu-jitsu, might help your life as well. And if you have any questions, find me on Instagram and drop me a line. I'll be happy to answer your question and mention your name during the episode.
Welcome to Raw Radio.
Hey, we are live. That was miserable.
Well, it was different than what you usually do. But, whatever. That's fine. We'll get through it.
Let's do it again.
You going to do it again?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
We're live.
I like the first one.
Okay. Well, then erase and put it back. It's funny because when I edit the videos, you do the audio. A lot of people don't even know behind the scenes. You do the audio stuff. Yeah. And I'll do the video. And sometimes I'm editing a video and I'm like, oh my God, we're just 2 freaking idiots. Just 2 idiots.
That's the wonderful thing about technology is that anybody could do it. Anybody could do this. If you're good at it, you just do it.
You just do it. You just do it. Yeah. 190 episodes. I every time I am, it's mind blowing.
You got to be selective with that 200. It's not that we're anybody special.
I already
might have to move.
I already have.
Well, I shouldn't say that because I don't want to piss people off on the other ends.
I already have some plans.
I don't want 199 and 201.
They probably will be.
I wasn't good enough. You idiots. To be the 200.
Anyhow, this is going public, right? This is part of the recording. There's a lot of people listening. What are you talking about? Anyhow, you made a comment at the end of this episode that this was one of the most positive conversations that we've had.
Yeah.
Elaborate on that. I'm actually curious.
Well, we take notes, right? Because we do a takeaway, which we're doing now. I take notes because I do, I write up the episode notes and all that stuff.
So why do you think it was more positive?
Well,
like, what made it positive for you?
The words I wrote down, right? Supportive parents, balance.
So much conversation with you.
Wanting people to win, leave the door open, support, role models, persistence, growth, fun. There, and Erika had her struggles, but she had all these other things around her. She's a role model, but she had her parents as role models, which leads to the support, which, they left the door open for her.
Yeah. Right.
When she made some big moves. Listen to the episode.
Yep.
She wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't fun, persistence, growth. I mean, that's all positive things that push you in a positive way.
Yeah.
So that's why I think that.
Yeah, actually.
No.
It was down because
a second.
Look. I just put this back in my bag yesterday because 2 days ago because I was looking at grit. But what's interesting, actually, what they say in the book is similar to what you were saying. A big part of this perseverance, this follow-up, this continuous chasing, in a way, is the supportive network that you have behind you. And it's not only the supportive network around you, like you and I. It is deeper than that. It's like the parents that you had. It's the friends that you grew up with.
Yeah.
It is the teachers that made impact on you, during your teenage years. Yeah, like all that really creates this system in your mind.
Yeah.
And generates these behavioral habits.
Yeah. And I think that
will drive you forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, we picked a topic and we're not quite there yet, but I think we could lead into it, which is when you have that system, when you have all those people, and I'm a firm believer that nobody does it alone. Nobody's self-made.
Yep.
It puts you in a position like Erika was in where she could, to use her quote, choose your hard. I believe her father was the first one to tell her that, and that quote's been around. But it gave her the affordability to decide, my life is, I have hard things ahead of me. No matter what I choose, why don't I choose the ones that I think, and I'm paraphrasing and stuff, but that are going to get me to where I want to be, right? And she broke it down to other things too, like diet and exercise and lifestyle and all of that. But if you're afforded the availability to make decisions, being complacent is one. And that life's still going to be hard. You're still going to have to make money. You're still going to have to go through life's problems, ups and downs and all of that. If you choose the other hard, where you're not complacent, you're putting yourself out there, you're going to go through all of those things, but I guess the rewards are greater when you do it that way. So talking to her now 10 years after she started jiu-jitsu and has accomplished so much, she's able to look back in retrospect and be like, yeah, all those hard things really put me in a position where I am today. I've grown as a person. I'm happy as a person. I've accomplished a ton of things. Where if she would have stayed in her other life, she would have still, she'd be comfortable, making a comfortable living, living out in California probably still in a nice area. Who knows what her personal life would be, but it would have been easy for her, and she wouldn't have those great milestones to look back on that she has now.
Yeah, and this is the interesting part about growing in general. I mean, we've had plenty of conversations about fixed mindset and growth mindset, and what the differences are on how to take advantage of them, and really which one will get you what you want out of the life. But the interesting part behind all of this is the fact that growth is not necessarily like what she mentioned that at some point. It's not a linear line. It's not just a straight diagonal line at 45%, at 45 degrees, right? It's continuous up and downs, up and downs, up and downs. The difference is that if you look at the span of 10 years, you have grown. Yeah. As a matter of fact, the growth is hard. Anybody who is listening to this right now and thinks growth is easy, like there's a point of reflection that should be taking place. This is why jiu-jitsu it's not. Jiu-jitsu is simple, but it's complex. And if you really want to understand complexity, you have to work for it. You have to chase it. So like just literally what you were saying, it's all that those systems, putting systems in place allows you to expand, right? Get better at this, right?
Yeah, and it gives you those choices. I think it puts them out there in front of you. Sometimes life throws you a curveball where you don't get to choose. You didn't get to choose an incident or an illness or an accident, but you get to choose after that how you deal with it, right? And how you react to it and how you move forward. Or if you don't move forward, if you
essentially you
just stay stagnant.
Do you agree with the fact that you can't really choose the circumstances you're surrounded by, but you can choose how you react to them?
Yeah, I say it all the time. Yeah, all the time. The only thing you can own, and you have to own it, is your reaction.
Is your reaction.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Absolutely. And the bad things that have happened in my life so far haven't been too bad. Worse than some other people, but boy, I've seen people go through a lot harder struggles than I've ever had to deal with. And the only thing that I can own about my own struggles and is what I do. how I react to it.
Yeah.
And same goes for the person who's had more unfortunate circumstances. She talked a lot about wanting people to win. So I think you have to look at it, going off on a tangent. When I look at other people who've had worse opportunities or bigger challenges and stuff, I want those people to win. So I kind of put myself in their shoes. So I'm not like, I don't want this to come off as, what we're talking about is anybody can do it. It's easy to choose that path. I don't think it is for everybody. But it's still a choice. It's still a reaction, and you can still own it, and you can still come out on top, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. And then that one, putting ourselves in somebody else's shoes, I often think even though it gives us a perspective, it never gives us the full picture.
No, not at all.
We are not that person. Our life was
because
not
we don't
the
have
same.
that system.
Absolutely.
Our system is different.
Plus, we don't have the same experiences in life.
Yeah, that's
so.
what I mean.
So me putting myself in your shoes, it might be, oh, that's easy. I can do that any day. Right. But it's not easy for you. So by definition, I'm not putting myself in your shoes. Yeah. Right. And then these perception versus perspective, right? Like that's the big difference, right? One, you are looking from my view, and the other one, you removing yourself from the view, looking from kind of outside, looking at the big picture, right? And this is where I think a lot of people, unfortunately, make a mistake. What I would do, blah, 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 blah. Well,
right.
Maybe, but they're not you and you're not them, and the situation changes all the time, right?
Absolutely.
And I think you bring up a very good point too. It's not whether you can or cannot do it, but how do you react to it? How do you react to the situations?
Yeah.
What consequences your choices have? Because ultimately, that's what boils down to, in all of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I was going to say that what comes after the choice might even be easy, but making that choice is difficult. There's a lot of dilemma. There's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of worry. Or there's a lot of self-doubt is a big one, right? I can't do it. But once you do it, and you look back 3-4 months later, a couple years later, you're like, oh, it was actually easy.
Yeah.
Boy, getting there.
Yeah. I mean, true story. I even remember to this day the anxiety associated with opening an academy, and I had a full-time job, and sleepless nights for weeks, months. What's going to happen if? What was going to happen if? But once the decision was made, it's and this is not only that. Many decisions in my life, what's going to happen? What are we going to do? What if that? What if this? What if that? What's going to happen? But the once you make the decision, it's okay. Decision is made. We can, procrastinate on the decision that we made, or we can just move forward. Now that since the decision is made, let's make it happen. Let's make it work. What are we gonna do from this point on, right?
Yeah. What's the system that now you're putting a system together? Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So why do you think it's so hard for us to do that? Why do you think it's so difficult?
We talk about fear of failure a lot. That self-doubt.
Do you experience that?
Yeah, absolutely, dude. You brought it up during the episode that I've lost some weight. So for me, getting to the point where it was okay, now I'm gonna do it, was I've been up and down my whole life. You're just gonna, you're gonna get started, or you're motivated, but you don't have the discipline.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate enough to start with somebody else. Margaret, thank you very much. But so this is going back just a couple minutes. I look back and it's only been 2.5 months, and it was that was easy. It was easy. But making the choice was super difficult leading up to it. You're going to fail again. You just, it was you're going to break down one night. You're going to eat something you're not supposed to. And we talked about this with Erika. Then it's a domino effect, right? It's I ate shit for breakfast. I might as well eat shit for lunch. And then 6 days later, you've been eating shit for 6 days.
Yeah.
So, and listen, it's not over, right? It's only 2.5 months. But it's oh, look, I did it. I set out, I had a goal, and it was to do it for a month, and I saw results. So I went into the second month going, why quit now? And with the program that I did, it was, now after a month, you can start reintroducing things. I was man, thinking like I did before I started, if I reintroduce anything, I'm just going to be back to where I was. Just go for a couple more weeks. weeks. Go for a couple more weeks. The difficult thing is like we've gone out to dinner. Dinner's hard. I'm not going out. I'm not spending $30 on a salad. So it's like, you know, making those difficult decisions when you go out. But so now I'm at a point where it's like, okay, that decision wasn't great, but you wanted to make it, right? You're going out to celebrate. You're going, you know, Margaret and I are going out to dinner somewhere special. But that doesn't mean you can go home. I can go home now and have dessert because I didn't have the greatest meal, right? You know, there's a lot of things that I've completely cut out of my diet. And I don't want to be that guy at a restaurant where, like, can you not, you know, with all the substitutions and, you know, I don't eat this, I don't eat that. No, I'm going to order off the menu. I'm going to get it the way they prepare it. They do it that way for a reason. But now I'm not like, well, you know, I made that decision, so now I'm going to go make 10 more bad ones. It's like, okay, I made that one. I'm good to go tomorrow and get up and start over and do everything right. And, you know, that celebration, that day of, you know, people call it a cheat day or whatever.
Yeah.
I'll have another one in 3 weeks instead of 3 hours.
Yeah.
You know? So.
And but also, like, we all can make choices. Like, you don't have to go to the restaurant that you know it's going to lead in a bad path, right? You can go somewhere else. You can change these things.
You look at
like,
the menu beforehand.
Right, absolutely. So it's like, you know, and I think that's available everywhere. Like, end of the day, we all make choices. Just like you make yours, I make mine. And, you know, we just need to live with the consequences of what's going to follow after that, you know? Good, bad choice is a, you know, in a lot of situations, it's just a matter of perspective, right?
Yeah, perspective's got a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
It's not like, we went out to dinner and I had a couple beers and I had some dairy in my, you know, in the vegetables that they made. Loser. You know, I'm not a
You said that.
but you get in this mindset when you can't do it, when you can't get started and you can't, you know, have that discipline, and it's like you're spinning the wheel, right? You're the hamster in the wheel, and you're going and going and going, and it's like, loser, you bum, you did it again. You might as well have another beer. You might as well, you know, order dessert. You might as well get up in the morning, and, you know, a big one for me was like not eat breakfast. Like, I'm not going to eat breakfast, right? So then you're stuck at work all day. I'm not going to eat lunch, so I'm going to go home and I'm going to eat, you know,
3 times more.
Yeah, right. Shout out to Les. We would talk about how now we go home at 9 o'clock at night and eat everything in the refrigerator. It's just, and then you wake up and you feel, for me, I would wake up in the morning and I would feel bad, but I would also, it does something to me physically where I would feel hungry. Oh, yeah. Even though I just ate all that and I couldn't digest it overnight and I didn't sleep well and, you know, all those things, it's like, you know, you're stuck in a rut. You're spinning that wheel. And if you can get out of that mindset where, like, even like the growth, right? It goes back to that graph. We're talking about growth. Okay, a little dip. But tomorrow I can keep growing. A little dip 5 days later, and I can keep growing.
Yep.
So you know, I'm rambling, but I think it's just, you know, you're choosing. If I go the other way, if I choose to go the other way, it's just as hard. My jiu-jitsu gets even worse. I don't fit in my gi, and I feel like shit, and also, like, physically, I don't feel well.
Your physical performance is different.
Yeah,
and then
I'm not sleeping.
Self-esteem and confidence and all the other things. And then why train? I'm going to take 1 day off, and then it's 3 days, and 6 days later you're eating shit and you're not training, and then it just I do have to tell you, since you started this transformation, you've been training by far more. Well, I don't know. The screen blacked out for a moment when you did that. It blacked out. I couldn't see anything.
That's why I wear this hoodie. We'll get back to the hoodie. So everybody doesn't see my massive guns here.
But is there your phone?
That's my alarm to tell me to go get the kids. So
okay. Right. Well, let's wrap this up. Well, congratulations on your weight loss. Congratulations on your training, because it's visible and it's. Well,
Erika also said if I could do it, so could you, and it's true. It's true.
Wait, is that a message for me?
No, you're not overweight.
Oh, just check.
I gotta go.
Later.
See ya.
Thank you for listening to Raw Radio. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to leave us a review and help us make the show even more amazing. For future episodes, check out our website and follow us on all major podcast platforms. Take care.